But the guy, oh yes, and all my relations, hello. You can get busy living, or you can get busy dying. These words were spoken by the actor Morgan Freeman in the movie Shawshank Redemption, which itself is an adaptation of the novel of the same name by Stephen King, which means Stephen King authored these words. The reason I believe King is so popular is that he confronts fundamental truths within the narratives of wildly imaginative stories. He often has his characters speak these fundamental truths, just say them outright, as Morgan Freeman's character did. And really nothing is more fundamental than the choice between getting busy living or getting busy dying. But why would some people define that as a choice? Why choose getting busy dying? Well, as counterintuitive as this may seem, it's because people are afraid of dying. So they choose to get busy dying. You see, they're afraid of taking a risk that could lead to their physical death, or their spiritual death, or their mental or emotional death, or some sort of diminishment. So, rather than take that risk, they don't live life fully. A fear of dying is a fear of living. Now, there are two main categories of emotions, right? There's happiness, the obvious one, because that's where we all want to be. And that's even enshrined within our Constitution. Within our Declaration of Independence. That the pursuit of happiness is a fundamental human right. So the opposite of happiness, I ask people this, and usually they say anger or sorrow. And a few people get it right. It's actually fear. Because when you're happy, you're confident. When you're confident, you got nothing to fear. And when you're fearful, I guarantee you, you're not happy. Some people have asked me, well, what if there's just somebody or something that makes us angry in the moment? Annoyed, which is a form of anger. Enraged, which is a very potent form of anger. We get triggered. We allow ourselves to be triggered. How is that fear? Well, the fear is that we won't find any other way to deal with this person or situation other than through anger or depression or anxiety, often, all three. That other thing or person will somehow gain ascendancy in our lives, or ascendancy within life itself, within our community, within our nation, within our world. We're afraid that if we don't say or do anything and don't react with anger, then that other person, that other idea, will take ascendancy. What I propose to you is that rather than allow that anger to take control, because the fear, the danger is real. The fear can be real. But the decision to let the fear take control is absolutely a choice. And it's a choice of letting the fear, allowing the fear to make all our choices. Listen, we all have things we're afraid of. We have other people, other ideas, situations. I'm pointing toward behind me because I'm pointing toward the past. We have these events and people in our lives, in our past, that somehow traumatized us. Could be a parent, could be a coach, could be a priest, could be some event that stays with us and becomes a personal demon, which we allow to make all these choices for us. What I propose to you is that when you realize that nothing defines us, nothing controls us, that these are powers that we have within us, then we realize that we don't have to be triggered. Then we realize that we don't have to get angry. Then we realize that we don't have to be anxious. All these people, all these events, present and past events, we can use them to make us stronger. We can use them to make us, to make ourselves better. Better persons. Better human beings. We realize this, and then we don't have to react with anger or rage or be triggered by anybody. We can actually speak to people with confidence. And let me tell you something. Most people in this world are decent people. The overwhelming majority. I'm going to say 95%. There are some true greedy bastards out there. But most of us are really trying our best to make sense of it all and to live decent, honorable lives. And when we recognize that in the other person, and when we recognize that in the other person from our past and the event from our past, and when we recognize that however these people, these events, impact us, it can still result in us leading honorable lives, decent lives, being decent people. When we realize this, we're able to engage the other person with confidence, with respect, with love. Any of us who are thinking that we're going to make this incredible change and develop this utopia through violent means, through aggression, through I'm not just talking about like a powerful revolution. I'm just talking about violence within ourselves, when we erupt in anger or depression or anxiety. If we think that somehow that's going to bring about this fantastic utopia, either in the world or within ourselves, we are mistaken, because that means that once we achieve this wonderful environment, we are constantly be on our guard to someone to take away that wonderful environment. We are going to bounce violently back and forth, up and down, between joy and rage, with the confidence that we realize that nobody and nothing can define us or control us. Then we, my friends, will get busy living. Peace. 4 fingers. See you soon.